Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm back with another winning gameplay analysis. In this video, it's actually it's going to focus primarily on controlling combat situations rather than strategic zone analysis, because this turned out to be one of my highest kill games ever at 13 kills. So if you're unfamiliar with the concept of this channel, I'm not really a super good player. I have about average building skills, about average shooting skills. But I still managed to maintain about an 8 to 10% win rate, which is in about the top 10% of players. Primarily I do that by making sure that I control zones, I control fights, and I take encounters strategically rather than relying on Twitch skills. And my hope is that this video series can help some other players that might have decent skills but are kind of struggling to figure out the flow of the game, to maybe start getting up to more wins. So here's my first kill. Guy just landed, he hadn't had any weapons yet, and I think he just kind of panicked. He knew he was dead, and so he just started running around. We actually ended up coming out here to Flush Factory because we were getting a couple of the rings for the Week 10 challenge in Season 3. We were planning on going Factory, but a few people opened up earlier, and there was no way we could have competed for loot at that area. So right now I'm just going through. I know that at least a couple people landed here, so I'm just trying to find the other person. And here I see them in here. And this is kind of curious because I don't know if they're AFK or what, but they're not moving. So I hit them with a sticky bomb, and then I keep my assault rifle on them in case they have a shield and haven't gotten it, and the sticky bomb doesn't kill them in one hit. So it does end up killing them in one hit, so I think they just had to go AFK, got called away from the game or something. And now we've got all their loot. We've got the full stack of mini shields, and we've got another shield. So we're now up to full health and shields. We've got an assault rifle, we've got a shotgun, and we've got some building supplies. So we've got all of the early game ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Right now I'm just continuing to loot the Flush Factory. I'm looking for a long-ranged option, I'm looking for more shields, and just things that'll help get me through to the late game. So I'll take the stack of impulse grenades over the sticky grenades, and you'll see why here, just because I'm outside the zone, and I start hearing a little bit of gunfire, and I want to go and get closer to it, and 3 sticky grenades will save you quite a bit of time. Now, I'm going to slow this back down. This is when I start noticing that this area is pretty hot. This guy starts shooting at me. I don't notice him at the time. He actually wings me. My first response is to build. Building will get you control of a situation faster than your opponent, especially if you've got a height advantage. Since I had a height advantage on him, even though I didn't really know where he was, it gave me a pretty good control of the situation. So now I know that there's 2 people in this building. I go ahead and come around here. I've got a height advantage still, and I see him coming up on the roof. So the John Wick skin is coming up, and I just kind of want to threaten the roof to make sure that he doesn't take that terrain. It works out in my favor since he goes back down, and now I'm able to claim the high ground by going up on the roof. So now I'm looking around, making sure he's not coming up another route. I hear construction, and I want to come and look through these windows. I hear a trap get put down, which means I don't actually want to go in this building after them, but I do have a good stack of grenades that we picked up at Flush Factory. So what I'm going to do here is I start throwing grenades in such a way as to kind of flush out the obvious hiding spots. Back underneath here, in this little cubby. And we actually do get a hit on him, and it forces him to move and react. We see him here, and so we know he's climbing up, and he starts fighting the other person. So what I'm going to do is try and drop down and get a sightline advantage on him. So right here, I've got that right shoulder peak advantage. I'm going to make sure no one's coming up. And I get some good chip damage on him. I don't think it completely removed his shield, but it did a good amount of damage. It was a good solid body shot. and he doesn't let me do it again. So now, what I want to do is reestablish that right shoulder peak advantage. So I break a brick wall, and I use that third-person camera to look around this corner without exposing myself, and I can see him here, kind of waiting for me to do the same. And he ends up exposing just the very top of his head, and I don't know if he means to do that or if he thinks he's completely hidden, but I'm able to use that right peak advantage against a stationary opponent to circle around and deliver the killing blow. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward again. Right now I've got pretty much everything I need for the late game. So I'm going to pause real quick. There's actually another guy who came into the factory while we were fighting. He's in this building over here, but since I saw people landing here and I fought people that were pretty looted, I didn't think it would be worth it to even bother exploring this area over here, as I thought it would all be looted and empty. So we're going to keep going. Right now I've got all the ingredients I need to potentially win a game. I've got a long-range option in that that blue hunting rifle. I've got a good assault rifle. I've got a blue shotgun, and I've got plenty of building supplies. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and slow it back down. So right here, I actually completely missed the person building within my line of sight. I don't hear it, I don't see it. I had already kind of dismissed this ramp as being someone coming back down, which was erroneous, and now this guy is kind of on our tail and we don't know about him. I also hear the sniper rifle shot coming up here. That's kind of what I'm fixated on. That's kind of what I want to chase after, because I want to see if I can get a bolt-action sniper to replace my hunting rifle and clear in front of us. Now, this person also hears us building up, and something kind of interesting happens. So they actually come over here. I don't see them yet. I think they see the other person who's chasing me, and it creates this kind of love triangle. So right now I'm still expecting to find the person out here, maybe between the trees, maybe in Salty Springs or around this construction, when we're actually within line of sight of each other for about 10 seconds. So I hear his footsteps. That's what's actually turning me around here. I think it's my own for a second, but anytime you're wondering if you're hearing your own footsteps, you should immediately clear the area. It serves no purpose to dismiss it as being nothing. And we kind of see each other at the same time. We're right at that range between perfect pump range and assault rifle range, and I pull out my assault rifle instead. It manages to kill him because he's not able to close the distance, and he decides not to build. Now, I start getting shot at immediately after killing him. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how close they are. My first instinct is build. Put a barrier between me and the source of damage. And then pull out my shotgun in case they're coming close. So I've got my shotgun out before I even know what range he's at. So once I've got the shotgun out, I continue to try and keep the high ground. And I end up finishing him off too. So now we've got pretty decent loot. We've got a lot of building supplies, and we can start heading back into the zone. I make a little bit of a tactical mistake here, and just chugging the shield potion completely exposed instead of building a fort, but it doesn't come back to bite me this time. So we do have one other person in Salty. I don't know if they were seeing me, but I didn't see them until later. There we pick up a purple rocket launcher, which if that guy had pulled it out and shot me with it, there's a good chance that that encounter would have gone a completely different way, but I think he panicked. And so right now we've got that other player kind of just beyond the rise. I don't know if they're aware of me or if they're just trying to get into the zone. I don't think they're within my line of sight at any time for the foreseeable future. So I'm looking back for them, don't see anyone. It's always important to clear behind you, especially if you're coming into the circle with a lot of gap between the actual circle and where the last circle ended. Generally, the bigger the gap, the more players are going to fill it. Okay, so now here we've actually got a couple different players in close proximity to us. So right here, this guy is actually completely within our line of sight, and I miss him entirely. In case you know, you had your doubts about me not being a top tier player. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. I miss very obvious players just on virtue of them not moving. He sees me though. So what I do is, even though he's coming for me to kill me, I'm kind of curious as to what the vending machine has. But again, as soon as he starts firing at me, I'm not even sure if he hit me or not, but the walls go up, a ramp comes up, and then I evaluate the situation. Now, he dies before I actually start shooting him. So I know that there's another player in the general vicinity, and I'm pretty sure they're in this copse of trees over here. But since the zone's coming in, I go ahead and build up. Now, I'm still more focused on building right now. I don't notice them come through. I generally kind of leave the zone as a blind spot, or the storm. Now, what I'm doing here is just making sure that my area is trapped and starting to move on out since I didn't see anyone. Now, as I jump and turn, I do notice this guy dropping down. And at that point again, my first instinct is build. I notice he hasn't built, so out comes the rocket launcher, and I try and get a little bit of damage on him to make him panic. Now he starts building. I don't have a whole lot of damage on him, and I'm about to run out of assault rifle ammo, so I switch back to the rocket launcher. And I start trying to put rockets in places that he hasn't really thought to defend yet, like under the gap. And he actually ends up trying to get aggressive on me at the wrong time, jumps over, takes some of the rocket backblast, and ends up dying. So again, we're just moving evasively. The more you jump and move around and move unpredictably, the less likely you are to just get sniped out of the blue. And it does happen, but you know, you can take steps to kind of reduce the chance of it. So we do have one more guy who's kind of going to be following in our path, but he's kind of a pacifist, it seems like. Now, I do see this guy moving right to left. Because he's moving, he's much easier to see, and I'm going to switch to gameplay because the sniper shot on him is a little bit interesting. And we don't get a kill. But see, I notice him kind of going from right to left, and I kind of anticipate that he's going to swing back around the other side of the wall. So look where I aim. I don't aim at him, I aim at the gap, because I feel like he's going to hook right back, and he does. And it doesn't kill him, but it does put enough damage on him that he might be less of a threat later on in the game. Anytime you can reduce the number of people or their strength for later in the game, it's going to help you survive the final circles. It's much easier to kill someone with 75 health than it is to kill someone with full health and shields. So again, we're just pushing on in. I see some construction here, so that's what I'm kind of keeping an eye on. And I hear a little bit of combat going on behind it, so that's what I kind of want to push towards. So, right now as I come off here, I'm not worried about my west, because there's a steep drop-off. If someone comes up, I'm going to hear them. What I am worried about is this tower over here, because I've heard fighting in this direction. So my thoughts are that it's 99% going to be occupied, and I want to go check it out. That tower is directly in my way to the zone, and anyone in it is going to be a huge obstacle to my success. So as I come through, I start hearing the grenades coming from this direction. I don't know exactly where they're coming from, but I do know that if there's someone in a tower, he's going to be looking in that direction. So immediately, I start building up. When you're building up on a tower like this, you need to make sure you're far enough away that your ramp will actually take you over the top of it. As I come up, I'm looking through the partial construction. I see him here. Now I've got height advantage, I've got cover advantage, and he was distracted. So he does start noticing me right about here as I come up. Put one shot on him, put a second shot on him, and the second one kills him. Now, I know that there's someone over here because they're grenading us right now. And I know they're basically behind the tree because of how close the shot sounded. And if I tilt the camera like this, we can see them. So, That rocket launcher we picked up earlier is great for killing people behind trees. Angle the rocket to one side or the other, and you're pretty much guaranteed to do some damage to them. Right here what I'm doing is I'm just eliminating my ramp to kind of prevent anyone else from using it against me. But looking at the zone, I see that the tower is not really in the zone anyway, so I don't worry about it, and I just keep on moving. Not a very graceful way to exit the tower, but right now we're sitting at about 85 health and 100 shields, so we're pretty much good for this next area of the zone. So what I'm seeing here is two big areas of concern. A tall tower and a porta-fort that's been fortified. So those are my two areas of concern. We can see on the minimap there's only actually one guy occupying either of these. But with this zone, we're really close to the zone, but there's an area of open terrain, and that terrain is adjacent to a pair of towers that may or may not contain snipers. So even though I haven't been shot at yet, what I'm doing is I'm just preemptively building to ward off any sniper shots. So I keep coming up here, I get back into cover, and now that I'm in cover, I pull out the health kit that I picked up off the John Wick at the top of that tower. And I start healing, and then I stop, because I realize that I'm in the zone, I'm near the edge, I'm in a pretty precarious position, so I go ahead and just fortify up. Right now I'm actually at about 80 to 85 health, but the worst thing you can do is have a health kit in your inventory and then die because you took 20 extra damage that could have been mitigated with that health kit. Now it's a good thing that I do build up, because there's another guy building on the other side with this ramp. And I can kind of see he's a little bit stymied that he doesn't get the jump shot on me. So I build a little bit of cover, try and get a height advantage, and open up with the shotgun. If he starts trying to build, I miss shots because, well, let's face it, I'm not a great shot with the shotgun. As I run out of ammo with the shotgun, I switch to the Scar and try and finish him off and manage to get the kill. Now, at this point, I have about 20 to 25 health. If I hadn't used that medkit when I did, there's a good chance that fight would have killed me. So right now I'm just reloading everything. I'll prioritize the blue pump over the purple heavy shotgun, and then the gold heavy shotgun and the purple or the blue pump I kind of put on the same level. So right now I'm just trying to get established in the zone. I'm putting down a cozy campfire to heal up the rest of the way. And I put a roof over me just to keep anyone from coming in and jump shotting me. Now one thing people don't know is that even with a ramp you'll get healing from the cozy campfire. You just kind of have to be in the same 1x1 square. So what I'm doing now is just building up, making sure that I've got a good tower, I can keep control over the zone, and anyone who comes up isn't gonna ruin my day. I've got everything I need to win the game, especially a rocket launcher in a good position. You won't get a rocket launcher every game, but when you do have one, it increases your chances of winning dramatically. So now I'm watching over on this side, and I see that this base might be occupied. I actually don't see that the person who was in it has left, and I see this fort over here. So I managed to catch this guy assaulting this other base in the corner. And so since I assume there's going to be two people fighting in there, I just go ahead and launch a couple rockets, hoping to maybe get a little bit of damage on one of them. So that guy does end up dropping down. We see these two. And now that I see the Dark Voyager, I go ahead and finish him off with a couple assault rifle shots. So that was just a meteor. And here I kind of make what ends up being one of the biggest risks to losing the game. I let him come back up and use his jump pad again and close the distance with me. I'm not a great close range player, I get a couple hits on him, and he doesn't make it to the top. So what I do is instead of jumping down, I try and maintain my height advantage, get some damage on him, and try and keep putting pressure on him to make sure he can't get back up. So with as aggressive as he is, I know he's probably going to try again, and my goal is to just keep the pressure on and keep control of the zone. So at this point I think he might have come down here on this side. In fact, he's just below here, but I'm just trying to discourage any repeat attempts at coming up on my base. I've got a trap down in case someone decides to jump in. And I'm just looking around to see if I can find any of the other people. Now, as it happens, both of the other people are on the southeast side of me. I'm going to rewind just a little bit. So you can see he starts building back up. I see it. I get a little bit of damage on him. Now this rocket I was aiming at the ramp. I had a little bit poor aim and it sailed past. He tries to build another wall behind him, and if he had built it a split second earlier, I might have killed him. Now, I hit him with a rocket, so I know he's hurt. And if not hurt, at least down to regular HP. So what I do is I try and, without exposing myself, drop the floor out from under. And I'm hoping that the fall damage will kill him. Unfortunately, it doesn't. But I send a couple rockets after for good measure, just to try and keep him away from my base again. Right now that guy is still my primary concern, since I'm not seeing anyone else and I'm not hearing other combat. The other players they're playing very passively. They're just waiting for us to duke it out. I put another trap down just to make me feel more secure. And I'm just waiting for the zone to come in. Now, the last zone favors us extremely heavily. I make a little bit of a tactical flub here in making a fort that's only supported by a single ramp. I go ahead and start building up. Now, the John Wick that we were fighting earlier is already building up over here. Since I'm building, I don't hear him building. And as I build up my ramp, I don't notice him until right now. And at this point, he's already set up to come over top of us. I try and get a quick kill on his ramp in order to stop him from assaulting me. It doesn't quite do enough damage, and he's already pulling out his shotgun. He's ready to fight. I make another tactical flub by not using one of my traps. As he comes down, he gets a good bit of damage on me, knocks off what shield I have, and I manage to just get a wild shot and finish him off. Now, he doesn't have any medical supplies. All he has is small shields, so there's a good chance that all the damage we did earlier to him is what resulted in us finally getting the kill on him. I go ahead and wall off so that I can heal up. At this point I've got about 60 health and 50 shields. I open it up because I've got good zone control. I make sure that no one else can use his ramp against me. I open up the top of my fort, and right now I've got the best position in the game. I have control of the entire final circle. I have a height advantage, and I've taken out the most aggressive players in the match. So right now I'm just looking around, scoping out the base of my fort, making sure no one's here. And just kind of waiting for that circle to come in. So right now I'm trying to peek into some of the different buildings. I'm trying to get a hit here in case anyone's down below and might be able to get some backsplash on them. But right now I don't know where anyone is. I reorient my map to be looking at down below here and down below here, in case anyone starts trying to build back up. Now, as soon as I hear fighting over here, I snap to attention. There's 3 people left, so I know that whoever's fighting, it's the last 2 people. They're down below me, and they're kind of in this bad recessed terrain. They don't really have a good avenue to get to me, and I have rockets and a height advantage. So what I start doing is I just start putting rockets down range. One rocket kills the first guy, the second one tells me that the second is within range, and the third rocket finishes our last opponent. This ends up being kind of our highest kill game, and a really good example of just controlling fights. rather than going into them blind and letting other people take advantage of you. Alright, well that's this game, and it's probably going to be my last game for, or my last upload for Season 3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you like this kind of thing, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Hit that like button or subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Alright, I'll see you guys next game.